start on time, and it's duly noted that he's here. He promises that even though he's the right side wingman, he will continue to be prompt. The members of the City of Miami Commission are City Commissioner Wilfredo Willie Gort, who is the Vice Chair, Frank Carollo, Michelle Spence-Jones, Francis Suarez, and myself, Mark David Sarnoff, the Chairman. Also on the dais are Johnny Martinez, the City Manager, Julie O'Brew, the City Attorney, and our new bright star, Dwight Daney. It's still Dwight Daney? Today, Dwight Daney, the clerk, City Clerk, who I think we'll then convert over next week to our new City Clerk. So we're going to give Dwight the new shining star for today. The meeting will be open with a prayer by Commissioner Suarez and the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Gort.
Thank you. If you can please rise. Lord, we thank you for the many blessings that you bestow upon this city, this government, and this commission. We ask you to always be present in our minds and in our hearts as we deliberate throughout the day to make the decisions that are in the best interest of the residents of the City of Miami. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now make the presentations and proclamations. Mr. Mayor, you are recognized for the record. Where are the microphones? Clerks, microphones?
Mike, he needs a portable mic.
Microphones? All right, Mr. Mayor. There it is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Commissioner Gort and myself have a special presentation for two individuals. Many years ago, I was able to participate in voting for a project in the old Miami Stadium, District 1 in Alapata. And the project was to build apartments for low-income families. And that project became a reality as the Miami Stadium apartment. And I have to say, Commissioner Gordon, and I'm sure that you agree that, that this is a model for Alapata and the City of Miami. There is no important date in the calendar that the management celebrates with the residents, especially the children of that project. And for that reason, we want to thank them. And I would like Commissioner Gort to do the presentations, to do the honor, and I guess talk about more of this project, because I think it's important to understand that governments can work with the private sector.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also had the pleasure of voting for this affordable housing. And this is an example of what affordable housing should look like. I mean, it's a beautiful place, it's run well, and the Sweeneys, what they have done in gratitude for the community, every time there's an event that we need someone to donate turkeys, toys, they're there with us. At the same time, they were very smart and select a very good manager, which is Jenny G. Guzman, if you can come over here. Also, Louis B. Sweeney, who's the part of the corporation that had the whole thing built there. Very proud family. He's done quite a bit in the city of Miami, especially in District 1. I'm going to read one. Special certificate of appreciation for Jenny G. Guzman, manager of the Stadium Apartment, honoring a wonderful commitment of civic responsibility and community welfare through generous donation and support for neighborhood projects in the city of Miami by community partners with philanthropy service as sources of inspiration. Thank you. And the same reads for the Louis Sweeney and his family. Thank you, sir.
No, we appreciate so much the city of Miami's spirit and community involvement. I know the mayor and Commissioner Gore have been very active in this district in providing a lot of community service, a lot of contributions to the tenants and the surrounding neighborhood as far as turkey giveaways, back to school events, and we're happy to contribute with them. Thank you.
Oh, I think they're here. I think at least the coaches are here, yeah. Yeah, the coaches are here.
Commissioner Suarez is recognized for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had the honor and privilege of being able to support the Tokolsi Red Raiders, who were taking a trip to win the, it was a national championship, right? The Pee Wee National Championship, and I see some of the coaches here with us. So if you guys can come up, I have your certificates as well as the certificates of your players who I guess maybe couldn't be here today. Maybe they're at school or something, but you can distribute it to them. So why don't we put our hands together for them? They went out representing the city of Miami and won a national championship for us. And many of those kids are going to be the doctors and the lawyers and the professional athletes of tomorrow. So we have to do everything that we can in our community and our city to support them in their wonderful endeavors. Congratulations, guys. You guys want to say a few words about how you guys did it?
Yes, I first want to thank, I'm Coach McGill, the head coach. I want to thank the city commissioners for honoring the team and our organization. It was a very great experience in Disney. The kids really enjoyed themselves and the whole experience of national championship. It was a very good competitive environment, and we just came out victorious. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. We'll now begin the regular meeting. The city attorney will state the procedures to be followed during the meeting.
Good morning and congratulations, Mr. Chair, on the appointment. Good morning, members of the commission, Mr. Manager, members of the public, Mr. City Clerk, and Mr. Mayor. Any person who's a lobbyist must register with the City Clerk before appearing before the City Commission. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available at the City Clerk's office. The material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours and at the City Clerk's office and online at www.miamigov.com. Anyone wishing to appeal any matter, any decision made by the Commission at this meeting may need a verbatim record of the item. Please, no cell phones or other noise-making devices. Any person who becomes unruly or makes offensive remarks will be barred from further Commission meeting attendance. Any person with a disability requiring auxiliary aids, please see the City Clerk at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Clerk, are there any mayoral vetoes?
No, Chair, there are no mayoral vetoes.
Do we have to do any minutes, approve any minutes?
Yes. Yes, for the meeting for the regular commission meeting for December 13th, and also the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for also December 13th.
All right, is there a motion?
Move it.
There's a motion, is there a second? A second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor, then please say aye.
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 Mr. Manager, does the administration have any withdrawals, deferrals that it wishes to make?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I will go through them slowly. CA3, defer to February 14th. PH8, defer to February 28th.
Sorry, what was that one?
PH8,
Okay.
defer to February 28th. FR2, defer to February 14th. RE1, defer to February 28th. RE3, defer to January 24th. RE6 and 7, defer to February 14th. And DI1, defer to February 28th.
All right, everybody, did everybody get that? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion?
Yes, I just want to go through it one more time and confirm the numbers.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Mr. Manager?
I'll start from the top. CA3, defer to February 14th. PH8, defer to February 28th. FR2, defer to February 14th. RE1, defer to February 28th. RE3, defer to January 24th. RE6 and 7, defer to February 14th. And DI1, defer to February 28th.
EI1. Gotcha. February 28th?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, then, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Sorry, I apologize. I'll get the hang of it, former Mr. Chair.
You're doing much better than I was in my first one.
All right, I'm going to ask the commission to give me a point of privilege so that I can at least address being the chair. And I want to first thank you, the mayor, for the opportunity to do so. And I think, as all previous chairs have, every chair brings a vision with regard to the city of Miami. And I'd like to share with this commission a vision I have. And it's a vision that I think we all share. It's a vision I think that we all can support. And that is, how do we improve the health, safety, and welfare of the city of Miami? I can think of no better way to do so than enhancing our police department. You all have heard in the past that I have suggested that we employ what's called a Southern standard of policing. All it really meant was that southern towns, southern cities tended to be less dense and employed fewer police officers per capita than did the Northeast cities. To the Chief of Police's credit, and I want to first give him the best praise I have ever given anyone on the dais, the memorandum that he did on December 20th is without a doubt the best work product that I have seen from any city employee. In this December 20th memorandum, the city of Miami employs 2.6 sworn officers per 1,000 inhabitants. To give you a perspective, that would put us in the bottom 50th percentile in Miami-Dade County in terms of sworn members of 1,000 inhabitants. To give us a little bit of perspective what that all means, the city of Biscayne Park, with a population of 3,072 people. That's a very, very small city. The city of Virginia Gardens, with a population of 2,300. Both employ approximately 2.6 sworn members per 1,000 inhabitants. So in comparison, the city of Miami employs basically the same number of police officers as the two smallest cities in Miami-Dade County. But we do so, we have a further disadvantage. We also have SWAT, homicide. We are what's considered to be a full police department. So you don't have simply those officers out on the street patrolling like Miami Gardens does, Virginia Gardens, like Biscayne Park. What we have is, we have a police department that of those 2.6 officers per 1,000 also have to have SWAT duties, also have homicide duties, robbery duties. It is consistent and persistently taking away from patrol division. Now, Miami has one further disadvantage. It is the place that people go to work. And that means that our population, which I know we have argued is more than 360 or 410,000 people, depending upon what census we have, our population daytime goes to 560,000 people. So we not only have 2.6 police officers per 1,000 inhabitants, if we were to project what we are during the day, our number would go down to about 2.1 police officers per 1,000 inhabitants. And with that, we would then be the lowest city of any major city in the United States of the amount of police that we employ. So, and to give you one last perspective, some cities that you might say Miami arguably could aspire to be, Miami Beach Police Department, and I'm not suggesting, Chief, by any stretch of the imagination they're a better department, they're a different department, but they employ 4.1 police officers per 1,000. City of Coral Gables, 4.3 police officers per 1,000. New York City, a place that I've heard other commissioners say, if we're going to be a great city, maybe we would look something like New York. They employ 4.2 police officers per 1,000 inhabitants. Boston, I could almost do the Boston twang, but I'll save you from that. 3.5 police officers per 1,000. Baltimore, that's a city that I think is very, very comparable to Miami. Same problems, same type of population. Port City, they employ 4.7 police officers per 1,000. So consider this. Baltimore, a municipality that is very, very comparable to the city of Miami, employs 4.7 police officers per 1,000. We employ, when you add our daytime population swell, 2.1 police officers per 1,000. We are less than half that of Baltimore. Philadelphia, 4.3 police officers per 1,000. Now, I'm not going to suggest, as the chief doesn't, that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. How did that expression even come about? I would suggest to you the more police officers you employ, the better you're going to be served for safety, for the health, and the welfare of the city of Miami. The chief even did an analysis based on the RAND Corporation. And the RAND Corporation actually computed, what does crime cost for the city of Miami? Or what does it cost nationally? And here's what the chief was able to extrapolate. Murder costs $8.6 million per incident. So if we have 200 murders, and we have more than 200 murders in the city of Miami per year, somebody do the math. Rape, a violent crime, $217,866 per incident. Robbery, and we seem to all know somebody who's been robbed. $67,277 per incident. Aggravated assault, $87,238 per incident. It is arguable that the total crime in the city of Miami could cost upwards of $116 million a year. Whereas if we were just to hire these 100 police officers, the city of Miami's cost would be something in the neighborhood of $7,350,938. If we're ever going to become the great city that we claim we're going to become, we need to get not to 2.6, not to 3.0. We need to do at a minimum what Philadelphia does. We need to get to 4.3 police officers per 1,000. And to do so, we have to bear in mind that we swell to upwards of 560,000 people per day. We simply have got to go about hiring 300 police officers to the tune of 100 police officers for the next 3 consecutive years. Now, having said that, we have had a great deal of difficulty in hiring police officers.
That's the main problem.
And candidly, Commissioner Gord, I've spent hours on this. I have spent time with the chief, and I've spoken to Armando Aguilar Jr., who I think has some good ideas. And to give you a perspective on this, how do other cities do it? How does the county do it? Well, the county, actually, their own police department hires their own police officers and doesn't have to go through HR. I strongly urge each of you to get involved and think about a strategy under which we are going to employ, because adding these police officers is a great thing and something the city needs to do. But looming for us is the year 2014. In the year 2014, 250 police officers will end their employment with the city of Miami. 250 police officers. The time is now to get this right. I suggest that we employ a consultant, whether it's a super HR person, whether it's a former DOJ employee, whoever that right person is, to stop this logjam, explore every strategy the city of Miami can employ in terms of lateral hires, in terms of creating our own police officers. Remember that we have the ability to create about 100 police officers per year in our own College of Policing, but we simply can't go along the way we've been getting along.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you're recognized for the record.
That's a discussion item today. I have the item that I've been working with administration for a year and a half. What is the problem in hiring people? We have police officers leaving. We got over 300 individuals from the city of Miami employees leaving. It's very difficult to hire anyone within the city of Miami. We have individuals, they have paid $10,000. They are going through the school. They have been certified as a police officer, yet to get hired is a problem. And for a whole year now, I'm supposed to get a report today, what are they doing about it? But I think you're right. We need to change the system that we use.
Mr. Chair.
You're recognized, Commissioner Suarez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I just want to start by saying that in my district, and I think I could speak for the city in general, crime is the #1 issue. It's the #1 quality of life issue. It's a very emotional issue. When someone is burglarized, they don't want to hear about statistics. They don't want to hear about number of police officers. They just feel violated, and they have a hard time even going back to their home and feeling safe. Nothing that a commissioner tells them is going to make them feel better. So and then the ancillary concern with that is patrolling. The first thing they always say is we don't see enough patrols. We don't see enough presence of police officers. So I think it's a wonderful suggestion. I like the 3-year plan, and I think to do anything that's difficult and complicated, to execute on something that can be, it shouldn't be difficult and complicated, but the fact of the matter is you've proven over the last year in studying the issue that we continue to be deficient. So we haven't, not only have we not crossed the threshold into being in the positive, we're still in the negative. So that's a major concern for me. And I want to, whatever the innovative solution is, whether it be hiring a consultant, whether it be going through our department, there needs to be something put on the table to get there, because we haven't shown a good track record in just getting us to the equal point. And as you correctly point out, in the next few years, we're going to go down another 250. So we're talking about, whatever we're deficient now, I think the number in the paper was 50, because we're talking about 150, plus another 250, plus another 100 per year, which is 300. I think it's 100% correct to say that whatever incremental revenue we're getting from this point moving forward, the #1 priority should be our policing. There's no doubt in my mind. I can't think of another department that could merit the kind of attention and the kind of money and resources at this level. Maybe the building department now, because of what we're going to experience, is going to need some additional attention, but definitely the police department is going to need it. And it's an issue that's going to benefit all the residents. It's a citywide issue. So you have my full commitment and support to do everything that I can, whether it be helping to create those innovative ideas to get there, or just supporting whatever ones that you have to get to that level, because I think it's a critical need in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to be heard?
You need a motion to drop?
Well, let's hear from the mayor, and then maybe if you want to fashion a motion, that would be great. Mr. Mayor, you're recognized for the record. Oh, I apologize. I got to get used to this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Vice Chairman, Commissioners. You know, I think I guess that this is an issue that everybody agrees, and I just want to say that we, like you, we had many conversations with Danny, the manager, and the chief of police, and yes, we believe that we have the resources to do this, and it's important that this will be the priority. The only thing is the process, and it may even take a charter change because of the different rules. So, you know, since there is so much enthusiasm, it is important that we work. Maybe if the attorney believes that there's the need for a charter change and to have it ready for the next general election. So I really believe, and I know that the manager has been working with Danny, running all the numbers, the all-in numbers for the police department. But I just want to say on behalf of the manager that we are committed to expand the police department, and that this should be, and it is, a priority for this year. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, the budget is there.
Yes.
The funds are there to hire people.
No, I think, look, in the words of the Vice President, a man says something's important to him, check his budget, and he'll tell you exactly what's really important to him. So we can get up here and speak in terms of platitudes, conclusions, but when it comes to the budget, if we don't have the intestinal fortitude to simply budget an additional $7,350,938 over and above what the chief says he needs, then we're speaking out of both sides of our mouths. And when next year comes and we have a tough budget year, if we don't have the intestinal fortitude to budget, once again, an additional $7.3 million, we're talking out of both sides of our mouths. I know one thing. This isn't a sexy issue in terms of, like, it's not a stadium, it's not a bridge, it's not a tunnel. You're not going to stand next to it and say, I built this, I voted for this. But, and I hate when people say it's the right thing to do, because the right thing to do is what history will judge you by. Each one of us go to work every day believing we're safe. Each one of us go for a walk at night believing we are safe. We enjoy the quality of our life, our parks, whatever it is we do, because we believe we're safe. What the memo that the chief did reveals is, though we may be safe, it certainly isn't really through strategy. It's through circumstance. Because I've been suggesting for over a year now that we've been employing an outdated, outmoded strategy. And I don't mean to make cracks. This is not intended to say the Southern strategy. There actually is something called the Southern strategy. To give you an indication, Atlanta, probably the biggest southern town that most people think about, used to have 2.6 police officers per 1,000. Today, they have 3.9 police officers per 1,000. So even they don't employ the old strategies. As you densify as a city, as you put tall buildings there, as you have people living on top of each other, that strategy simply doesn't work. So, as I said, Chief, you certainly should be heard, and I just want to say it one more time, and I want to say this to the manager. This work product is the best product I've ever seen written by any City of Miami employee.
And notice it's very short. It's not like 30 pages long. It's right to the point. It's very good. I just wanted to add, I agree with everything that's been said. As the economy picks up and we have more and more vertical development, it puts a bigger strain on all our resources, the building department, the police department, the fire department. And we do need to beef up as the economy picks up. It's only logical. The other thing is that we need to be very strategic. We need to be strategic. It's not just hiring 100 officers, hiring the right 100 officers. You know, we need to do it correctly, make, you know, one good officer is better than 5 bad ones, you know, because they're not crime preventers, the bad ones, they're crime creators. So we need to hire the right people. Having said that, one thing that I heard was that the county has their own internal hiring process within the police department. I think that's worthy of looking into, so that they're in charge of their own destiny as far as hiring the right 100 officers, and I think that's worthy of looking into. We're also looking into I think what the mayor referred to as the all-in cost. The chief in his report gave a $7 million number, I think it was, and that's just the raw cost. We need to add the uniforms, the fuels, the extra burden on GSA, and those type of things to come up with the all-in cost that the mayor mentioned. But yes, I agree that we need to do this. We need to do it strategically, and we need to hire the correct 100 people.
Chief, you're recognized for the record.
And Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman,
Commissioner.
when you finish,
Yes.
Thank you. 2 points to clarify. One, the cost on the memo is basically just salaries and fringe benefits. We do have to add a certain percentage, and that percentage I'll leave up to Danny to figure out what the percentage is. We need to, like the manager said, buy guns, uniform, cars, fuel, you know, whatever that percentage is. I'll leave to Danny. He's the expert on the money issue. The other thing I needed to clarify is that I heard you mentioning we have like 200 murders a year, and we only average around 70, 72,
sorry, I didn't mean-
73. I don't want the residents to be alarmed out there that like we're the murder capital of the U.S.
I think I was watching too much of The Wire. That was about Baltimore.
That's Chicago. It's not us. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr.
And
Chair-
Commissioner Spence-Jones
yes,
is recognized.
Chief, I just want to say something quickly.
Yes, Commissioner.
First of all, I want to commend the chairman for his wisdom on really pushing this issue. As a matter of fact, this is an issue that probably was on his blue pages at least 6 or 7 times, addressing this issue, and he remains diligent on making something happen. So I applaud your effort in making this a priority in your first steps of leadership, so I want to at least acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge the chief. When people do good things, we should acknowledge their good work. And I don't know if you guys seen recently, I know you saw in the news, we had a major operation basically in my district addressing the issues of guns and violence and drugs in the neighborhood. And I wanted to acknowledge not only the chief, because we're nothing without our team, I want to acknowledge you and all the guys and girls in blue for their hard work, because I know that we have been pushing very hard to see some results. And as you saw just most recently in the press conference they had, that we made several arrests and we've gotten a lot of bad guys off the streets, and I'm very excited about that. So I just wanted to at least acknowledge, I know we need more officers now more than ever. In my district, I'm not only plagued with the issue of the gun violence, but most recently, I'm getting a sudden rash of many of my businesses, I'm sure you know, that are being hit with burglaries.
Overnight, yes.
Yes, too many of them. So their air conditions, their copper, everything is being stolen out of their businesses. And it's very difficult already for a small business to operate, but then not having, you know, the things that they need to have in order for them to run their businesses makes it difficult. So I totally agree with that. If we had more police officers on the street patrolling, that we could definitely address these issues. But I wanted to acknowledge you, because sometimes we beat you up here for not moving enough. So I want to acknowledge you for your hard work.
Thank you. And by the way, Commissioner, part of trying to resolve that issue on the 7th Avenue corridor, effective Sunday, a beat officer started on that corridor that will be going from around 54th Street all the way up to 64th Street. And that's It's a lady officer. That's all she does is patrol that area.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. Chief, could you tell us who the co-author of this particular memo is? Because it's, and I know you had a lot to do with it, but I think we should.
It was Junior. He's a little brainiac, so I give him an assignment, he runs and he does research, and then we get together with the research and we put the package together. But yeah.
I want to say your intuitiveness to do this, because I didn't instruct you to do this. You picked up on what I was saying, and you picked up on the Southern strategy and the Northern strategy. And I guess if anybody could learn anything from the chief, he didn't get an email, a text, an instruction from me, hey, give me a memo on thus and so. But he saw that this issue was recurring and recurring and recurring, and I think did a great job. So I just want to thank you. And to the other directors out there, when you see an issue bothering a commissioner, a memo such as this on whatever issue that they have would really be helpful to us. And be intuitive, because this is, you know, I thought well of you, Chief, but I have a whole new level of thoughts about you now. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, and the last thing I want to say with regard to the chairmanship, again, I want to thank the mayor for the opportunity. We're going to be bringing to this commission Marine Stadium, and I think it was Commissioner Gort that put me on that committee, which I think we met something in the neighborhood of 14 times, and I want to thank him for those 14 two-hour sessions.
I know you were going to do the job.
Right. And we've come to a consensus, and I think it was a very rigorous committee, and I hope that you will see the time and effort to this commission that was brought with regard to Marine Stadium and some very aggressive conversations and were had. And I know it's been the mayor's vision to get Marine Stadium going, and I think we have at least an agenda, a strategy, and an opportunity to do so. So thank you. All right, anybody have anything else? Otherwise, do any of the commissioners wish to have any items removed from the consent agenda or the regular agenda? All right. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move it.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, we have PH1.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you.
This is George Manson, Director of Community Development. PH1 is a resolution authorizing the allocation of community development block grants, closeout funds, attached and incorporated in a total amount of $438,640, allocating such funds to $40,000 to Miami Bayside Foundation for technical and activity businesses, and $50,000 to Department of Grants Administration for environmental cleanup of site located at 1199 or 262nd Street.
All right. Is any of the public wish to be heard on PH1? You're recognized for the record.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Grady Muhammad, President and CEO of Miami-Dade First. Happy New Year. We're in favor of this overall, especially for the Bayside Foundation, because they're doing a great job, and we definitely encourage support because we need to help and assist more minority businesses. And we hope whatever you, with that investigation that was called for last year with the previous board that never did anything, and the vacant building on the 62nd, we hope whatever happens, we don't care. But the new one and the new board, we're definitely in favor, and they're doing a great job, and we wholeheartedly support. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed. Mr. Curlin.
Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Curlin, 3132 Day Avenue. Commissioners, I am the chair of the Miami Bayside Foundation. During the CDBG hearings, we appeared before each and every one of you to state our case. We've given over 176 scholarships to citizens of Miami minorities. We have given over 7 loans to citizen of Miami resident businesses, and we have sponsored a program with SCORE to provide well in excess of over 200 programs free to citizens of Miami minorities. I would encourage you, please, to vote yes for this CDBG grant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard on PH1? Hearing none, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Coming back to this commission, do we have a motion?
Move it
So
for
moved.
discussion.
We have a motion and we have a second. Commissioner Suarez is recognized for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to commend Mr. Curlin and the board for their wonderful work. They really have turned it around, as Grady was saying, from a board that had all kinds of problems to a board that's incredibly productive and one of the best boards that we have in the city of Miami. So I just want to commend you for your work.
All right. Commissioner Spence Jones, you wish to be heard?
I just want to say ditto regarding on the Bayside Foundation. Where's Nathan? Is he? Yes, and the whole team, because it's a team of you guys, and especially your executive director. They work very hard, and everything that we've asked them to do, at least from my community's perspective, they stepped up to the plate and did a great job. So I look forward to working with them, and I support this item 100%.
Anyone else? All right, hearing no one else, then I'll bring it to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, PH2.
PH2 is a resolution authorizing the allocation of CDBG funds in the amount of $300,000 from District 3 Reserve account for the purchase of the site 1320 Southwest 12th Avenue.
Move it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Suarez.
Second.
This is a
Public
public
hearing.
and a second by Commissioner Spence, by the Vice Chair. Did I say Carollo? I apologize. The motion was by Commissioner Carollo. The second was by Commissioner the Vice Chair. And public hearing is now open. Mr. Mohammed, you are
And
recognized. for the
again,
record.
this is another project in District, Commissioner Gore's district. We need to get these funds expeditious, I think 1320, excuse me, Commissioner Carollo, my bad. We need to get these funds expended because from what I've been looking at, and when I say looking, for the last 3 agendas, December 12th, 13th, February 11th, we spent we've put $7 million in the commercial facade compliance and economic development reserve. If we continue to put these funds there, I can assure you right now, we're over the HUD 1.5% ratio. And we got to spend these funds prior to next month, because if we do not spend these monies, these funds will be recaptured and the city will be the ones that are losing. We cannot afford any loss to these funds. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Anyone else wishing to be heard on PH2? PH2, public hearing is now closed. Coming back to the commission. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
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 PH3.
PH3 is a resolution authorizing the allocation of an amount of $650,000 to Miami-Dade Community College for public facilities and improvement activities, specifically for the rehabilitation of the Tower Theater.
Mr. Chairman,
You're recognized for the record, Commissioner Croyle.
I move it. However,
Second.
there is, I want to do a floor amendment. Instead of 650, I think the amount was 660. 660.
All right, does the seconder accept the amendment?
I accept the amendment.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Carollo, second by Commissioner Spence Jones. There is a public hearing, and the public hearing is now open. Mr. Mohammed, you are recognized for the record.
Again, 1302 Northwest 54th Street. In December 2009 was proposed to give to Curly's House. That's a business, social service agency that needs it, and we can use these fundings because they gave them with the tax bill and the water bill. But here's, we have funding that we can use to pay the taxes because we have what is called the Economic Development Fund that allows nonprofits to be able to get a loan. WDNA radio station 88.9 did it, and others. But we have to think outside the box when it comes to District 5 because Curly's House is one of the most successful organizations in helping the elderlies and seniors in our neighborhood, but more importantly, the jobs that they're creating with the Marlins, the Heat, the Sun Life Stadium. They're ensuring residents from the city of Miami are getting jobs at these games. When it's the Marlins games, it's three games, they have up to roughly 80 people working at those games. Same thing with the national championship game that was there. So we have to start spending these funds, and since we can spend them with the nonprofit, Curly's House is a 501c3 nonprofit. Why haven't we been able to think outside the box to help them get 1302 that was given in or proposed to be given in 2009, and be able to allow them to expand and then use some of these same funds like we are using right now, Commissioner Court, for Tower Theater, as well as the CCP, to be able to help purchase that property, what is already owned by the city, donate that property to Curly's House, help them renovate it and furnish it to be able to expand the job training as well as the elderly meal. But I'm talking like what you talk, Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, jobs, 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 and that's what they're providing, and they just need another facility because they're renting this facility where they're at, and it's inadequate, and it's only literally for services for the elderly. This will be for Curly's House Employment Service, and they're employing more people in this city than anybody else, and I thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard on PH3? PH3. Time starts running now. You got to get up there. You're recognized for the record,
Sure.
Mr. Cruz.
Mariano Cruz, 27, Northwest 26th Street. I wonder, I was hearing about we need so much money for police to pay on that. The problem that the city of Miami got is that we allow, like Miami-Dade College, they took 4 city blocks. There were property that were paying taxes. And I bet for 27 to 25th Avenue, 7th Street to 5th Street, all those 4 city blocks, now they parking lots for the college. They don't pay taxes. And there were a bunch of houses that were paid. And then we worry about how we're going to get the $7 million for the police department. Because in lieu of taxes in other cities, all these organizations are paying something to the cities. We provide service to the college, police service, rescue service, and everything. And for free? For free? No, shouldn't be. They should pay in lieu of taxes, because they even raise the fee, the tuition fees and everything. So they charging money to the people. People are not going there for free to school.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Commissioner Croy, I apologize, this is not on subject, but let me just ask the manager. It's a question that I've always concerned myself with. I thought there was something called in-kind remuneration, and I thought the federal government and the county pay us something. They don't pay taxes, but they pay something for the services they, Commissioner Gortz,
Contribution in lieu of taxes.
What is it?
Contribution in lieu of taxes.
In lieu of taxes. That's the name.
What's it called?
In lieu of taxes.
In lieu of taxes.
Contribution in lieu of taxes.
Do we get contributions in lieu of taxes?
The city has not been receiving payment in lieu of taxes for a number of years. The federal government pays it, not the state or others. It pays it to the county. The county receives it. They too have interest in it, and they're not sharing that with us.
Why?
Because we are not going after them.
Why? Does anybody in the administration have the answer to that why question? Is there anyone in the administration that was aware that the county has not been paying us the in-kind contributions that they've been receiving from the federal government?
I can speak to the public housing part in the city. I believe some time ago, 3 years ago, the city, we went and met with the public housing agency to try to get them to pay that tax in lieu of taxes. They used to pay it in the past, and then all of a sudden they stopped paying it. But at that time, the county public housing agency was being managed by the federal government, so they told us to wait until. And after that time, there have been so much changes in the county that we haven't.
Here's what I'm going to propose, and I hope the commissioners will support me on this. I don't know what department this is, Danny, but I'm going to look at you because you're sort of a go-to guy. I'd like to know everything there is to know about contributions in lieu. I'd like to know over the past 10 years what the historic breakdown of it was. I'd like to know how it was stopped, why it was stopped, and I'd like to know how much the county has received in lieu of taxes and how much they have not paid us in lieu of taxes. We certainly have some friendships, abilities with the county to find out why it is they're holding on to the city's portion, if they are, of the contributions in lieu.
We'll find out.
Chair?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Just to add to the discussion, I remember about 9 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I think that Willie was in the commission, or could be more. We did a research, and we presented to the commission and to the administration what we found was the good neighbors policy. This is a federal, it's not a federal law, but it's a federal program that pays the cities and the counties for the use of primary services. And I presented, I think the commission voted in favor to ask for that money. Yeah, Willie was here, I remember. And nobody did anything at the time. But I do think that the policy is still in place because we research cities like Atlanta and even Orlando, and the federal government does pay. And you know, we have many federal buildings within the municipality. So it is called, I know for a fact, good neighbors policy.
Mr. Mayor, there seems to be two issues. One issue is that I've heard, and I only know this from this day's discussion right now, so I've been here 6 years. This has not come up frequently in the 6 years I've been here. What I heard said to me a moment ago was that the federal government pays the county, but the county has not paid us. That's one issue. Second issue is, does the county or the state owe us money for contributions in lieu? Because they certainly have state office buildings, county office buildings. And is there an obligation, or can we create an obligation for them to act as the federal government does, to pay us in lieu? Because we police the streets, not the county. Those county buildings, hey, should there ever be a crime committed, a riot, whatever you want to call it, it isn't the county that's coming, it's the city that's coming. So I heard two different things, and I'd like to see 30 days, a report to this commission, so we can see where we stand on the contributions in lieu. It could be.
I can tell you that there is a federal policy in place. We did not found any state or county, but there is a federal policy that, and I remember Willie was here and we voted on it, and I think it's not a lot of money, but it's money.
Well, my understanding, we did collect some.
Sorry?
My understanding is we did collect some funds. And we went after the county and we went after the state also. Utilizing the federal program, we try to get the state and the county to implement the same program.
And through a resolution or through a...
It was a resolution.
It was a resolution that I presented. I remember that many years ago.
Can this report attach all resolutions, attach everything, and then so we can see and maybe make some sort of a strategy to collect this money? Mr. Manager?
Yes, the answer should be yes.
Yes.
The answer should be yes. I'm going to have Danny look into that.
Yes, 30 days, you're going to have a report. Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes, sir, you're right.
No, and I think, you know, it's in line with what you started the commission with, your idea, which is that during the day, during the office hours, the population of downtown swells. A lot of them are other governmental buildings, and we have to police that. And to keep a healthy ratio of police officers to people, everyone should be doing their fair share. So I think we have an obligation to go after these funds on a continual basis, so that we can help our residents who are paying, you know, the property taxes in our city. Thank you.
District 1, we have over 45,000 individuals at any one time every day.
You know, the city of New York deals with this day in, day out. I think they swell to over 1 million people. And I'm not saying we should do this, but they have a commuter tax.
Yeah.
And that commuter tax is aimed at making the people that commute to the city of New York pay the taxes commensurate with the police, fire, and other services that they receive. We don't do that. But what you just said is happening, which is the citizens of Miami are paying.
They're subsidizing.
Exactly. Fair enough. Commissioner Carollo, I apologize. Your issue did get sort of subsumed into this.
Yeah, it's just that this is starting to be a usual occurrence. But anyways, with that said, you know what, there was so much discussion here that I'm just going to let it go in. Let's just call the question and take a vote.
All right, we had a motion, we had a second on PH3. All in favor, then please say
Would you
aye.
like to close the public hearing?
Oh, I apologize. Let me close the public hearing. Coming back to the commission. All in favor on PH3, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
As amended, 660, right?
That's right, as amended.
Okay, PH4.
PH4 is a resolution authorizing the transfer of CDBG funds from District 5 Reserve Account in the amount of $31,330 and allocating it to Economic Development Microenterprise Assistance Program.
All right. Let me open up a public hearing. Public hearing on PH4 is now open.
Grady Muhammad,
Muhammad, you're
President
recognized.
CEO, Miami-Dade First. We're in favor of this, but again, we have a gentleman that's in the audience, Mr. Edward Colebrook, Chantel Lounge. His is an application for 2012-2013. He got 5 points on his application, and the application was graded by a person from housing. And the application was graded on, do you have partnerships with other organizations? Do you have clientele? What's the clientele and the demographics going to be served? That is a social service application. Mr. Edward Colebrook and Chantel Lounge, Goombay Chantel Lounge, is also a business that we're spending $85,000 on the 7th Avenue Commercial Rehab Program. I've stated many times to Mr. Mensah, he needs some help on the inside, because if he closed down in the next month or two, after we finish spending $85,000 on the building on the outside, HUD gonna want that money back. Elaine Black is the president CEO of the Liberty City Trust. He met with her. She said, there's no money. But here we have money, and we're spending funding, and we need to help those businesses because that's where the money keep going in the Economic Development Reserve. Why is the funds not going out to the community? Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad. Anyone else wishing to be heard on PH4? PH4. Public hearing is now closed. Coming back to this
So
commission.
moved.
We have a
Second.
motion by Commissioner Spence-Jones, second by Commissioner Carollo. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, PH5.
PH5 is a resolution authorizing the allocation of CDBG public service funds in the amount of $48,628 from District 5 to the agencies
So
that's
moved.
provided.
We have a motion by Commissioner Spence-Jones, second by Commissioner Carollo. Public hearing is now open. Mr. Muhammad, you're recognized for the record on PH5.
Yes, sir. PH5. We're giving funds to Curly's House, Liberty City, Community Economic Development. And my question is, the Liberty City, and I request, Mr. Chairman, my 6 minutes as a lobbyist, sir. And the question is this. They've been around for 6 years. Mr. Manager, Danny Alonzo, they have not closed on one home. You're a real estate attorney in 6 months. One home in 6 months. They have not built any homes. The Model City Trust, of which I used to sit on, the NIE grant, the Neighborhood Initiative grant, is from 2003. All of the funds that the Liberty City Trust has come from the Model City Trust. They've not raised a dime. They have not helped a business. They have not renovated a home. They have not done anything, and we're paying a salary of $100,000 to an executive director, and my question is, for what? We're giving social public service dollars. This is supposed to be an entity that's created for economic development. We gave them in December 2011. The Housing and Commercial Loan Committee gave them funds to purchase apartment buildings. The apartment buildings are vacant, 750 and 754 Northwest 70th Street. They had tenants in those units. Now the buildings are vacant. They're vandalized, and they say there's no money to fix it. Next week, Friday, at the Housing Commercial Loan Committee, we're giving $37,000 for housing rental. Then the next, we've already given another $50,000 in December for administration. Mr. Manager, why we still have, because there's been no board meetings that the community can call for the firing of Elaine Black. So I'm going to call for the firing of Elaine Black here at this commission because of the incompetence. Nothing has gotten developed in our community. And like you said, our community tax, she lives in Broward. and we can't get anything done in Liberty City because everything has to come through the Liberty City Trust, and she is the most incompetent person that's been here for 6 years, and nothing has happened in my community.
And in
conclusion, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Manager, as I stated, I think Danny can be able to verify what I'm stating in reference to the house, and she hasn't closed on in 6 months. Every other dime, there has been no funding that's been raised by the Liberty City Trust. The buildings are headquartered in Coral Gables. In conclusion.
No, you've had your conclusion, and I want to thank you for that conclusion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Ma'am, excuse
First of all, I'd like for staff to respond to it, and I'll respond afterwards.
me. Go ahead, Mr. Mensah.
Let's deal with the houses that are not built, and how many...
I just want to say that we have 8 homes currently under construction. Out of that 8 homes, as part of an NSP program, there is $450,000 that is contributed by Liberty City Trust. They are involved in the marketing of the homes. They are involved in the in reviewing all the home buyers that are being procured to purchase those homes, and they basically that's what they do, and they go around make sure the homes are being supervised, the contractors and things like that. So they are doing work in the community. With specific reference to this particular item, this was an RFP that was put together for the area, specific area, and the idea was to fund public service agencies that have not been funded before. And the proposal that was put together is for a job training component for that particular program. That's why it was funded. This has nothing to do with the housing or anything that the Liberty City Trust currently does.
Right, but George, I think it's important for you to address, because there's a question around whether or not any houses were built. And I know for a fact that we just went out there recently and put signs up in front of the new houses.
Yes, there's eight houses that are almost completed, and we have buyers ready to close on those deals.
Okay. Yeah. And in reference to the building that was spoken about, the multifamily building, the rehab building.
This is a building that was purchased, and we are in the process of rehabbing. A construction manager is in the process of being hired to take over the construction aspect of those buildings. So it's going. There are a lot of abandoned properties in the Liberty City, and one of the things we are doing is try to purchase all those units as much as we can using the funds that we have to be able to rehab them and bring them back in the market.
Right. Let me just say this, because, you know, I made a vow to myself and to my Heavenly Father that I was starting off this new year without allowing myself to embark on conversations that I think are fruitless. I think that it's really, really important that when we get out on the mic as public citizens and we spew things that are negative about people without the facts, I think that does a disservice not only to this community but to this commission. I think that we have to be mindful of the things that we say about people without having the true facts. I know for a fact, for instance, that Miss Elaine Black does not live in Broward County. She lives in Dade County. And quite frankly, I'm a little disappointed in Grady Muhammad today and all of the negative things that he has said about Elaine, that he has said about the things that we're trying to do in District 5. And as a matter of fact, George also knows this as a fact, that there's more than, we have jumped over hurdles for Grady Muhammad for all of the things that he needs to see happen within the district. Not only from a district perspective, but even from a personal perspective. Yes. I do not wish to put his business out in public, just as he wishes to put other people's business out in public, but I would ask that Grady Muhammad reach down deep inside of his soul and inside of his spirit to make sure that when he says things that are negative about people, that he understands that it affects them in a terrible way. So I'm not going to engage in defending Elaine, engage in defending George, engage in defending, what we're doing in the district. If anybody wants to see what's happening in the district, all they need to do is go and take a look. And I'll be more than happy to show them what we're doing in the district.
All right. The public hearing is still not closed. Anyone still wishing to be heard on PH 5?
Elena Del Monte, CEO for the Association for the Development of the Exceptional, serving over 350 adults with developmental disabilities. a very lucky recipient of some of these fundings, and I can't tell you enough how much we need this. And I do want to say that we're one of the agencies that has 100% quality assurance, monitoring, perfect audit, and you all know the excellent services that we're providing. So it shows the responsibility in this day of really choosing to place these funds with agencies that are really going to make your dollar run. God bless you. On the name of all the consumers we serve, Happy New Year to all, and I want to also thank the department. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Del Monte. Anyone else wishing to be heard on PH5? PH5, public hearing is now closed. Coming back to the commission. Any further discussion? All in favor, then please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. PH6.
PH6 is a resolution authorizing a transfer of CDBG funds in amount of $95,000 from the Coconut Grove Business Improvement District and allocating that funds to the Department of Community and Economic Development Loan Pilot Program for awards for for-profit businesses in District 2.
We have a motion by Commissioner Spence-Jones. We have a second by Commissioner Carollo. It is a public hearing. Anybody wishing to be heard for the public hearing? Mr. Mohammed, you are recommended.
This is a good thing, again, because the money's in the economic reserve. This is for job creation, job retention, just the same thing Chantel Lounge and Colebrook will be doing, saving jobs, but we can't seem to think outside the box. Congratulations, Mr. Chair, on this, because this is how we need to continue to start to put real dollars into businesses that can be able to retain jobs and create jobs. The micro enterprise is great, but they really can't create jobs. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard on PH6? Hearing none, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Coming back to the commission. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. PH7.
Mr. Chair, PH7 is the allocation of Poverty Initiative Program funds, and this is the last allocation in the amount of $180,500 to the agencies that are attached.
We have a motion by Commissioner Spence-Jones, second by Commissioner Suarez. It is a public hearing. Anybody wishing to be heard on PH7?
Community supports this wholeheartedly, and they need it, and we need to spend these funds, especially with all the social service agencies and all the needs in the community. This is definitely, with the anti-poverty initiative, something that's very well deserved, and we need to try to, again, Mr. Chair, like you talked about with the not the homeless trust, with the children's trust and all these other things, to try to get some of these funding from other funding sources, just not CDBG, private sources, foundation, philanthropists. That's what they need to do. And this is a second part of funds that they can be able to use and utilize and be able to help and assist the regular citizens in the city of Miami. And definitely Miami-Dade First will be in favor of. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to be heard on PH7? PH7, public hearing is now closed. Coming back to the commission. Any discussion or any further discussion? Commissioner? Nope.
Can I put an amendment on the?
Yes, sir.
At the last, we have Theodore Roosevelt Gibson Memorial Fund, but that's now changed to Thelma Gibson Health Initiative. So if you amend it.
Maker accept that change? Seconder accept that change? All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, then please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. PH9.
Morning, Rodolfo Llanos, Assistant Chief. So PH9 is ratifying and approving, confirming the city manager's finding of a sole source waiving requirements for CLO competitive bidding and approved procurement services for AT&T for a fully managed, hosted, new generation 911 solution for the Miami Police Department and the fire for a term of 5 years with an option to renew. The first year cost being $2.5 million and subsequently $577,000 to be paid annually for access fees and funds from the E911 Special Revenue Project. This is not a general fund impact. This comes from our E911 funds.
All right.
Move it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Carollo. Second by Commissioner Gord. It is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to be heard pursuant to PH9, please step up. Mr. Mohammed, you are recommended.
I can assure you, Mr. Chairman, when we did the thing in July of last year, and we gave it from Global Spectrum to the other entity, They fired the employees that was there at that time. The mother of my son was one of those employees that worked for 9 years at the James L. Knight Center. She was fired. This is Public Facilities James L. Knight Center. Yes, sir.
This is PH9.
Excuse me, PH8, my bad, I'm sorry. That's what we're looking at, public hearing. Give me a second, Mr. Chairman.
PH9, Mr. Mohammed. It's the AT&T Police 911 system.
Please forgive me, sir.
I can't imagine you opposing it.
Emphatically no, sir, Mr. Chairman. In favor, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Flores, you're recognized for the record.
J.C. Flores, Regional Director, External Affairs, AT&T, in support of the item. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, public.
There's some questions to be answered about polls, or?
Yeah, let me just say that sometimes there's an opportunity when somebody wants something from this commission that you can fix a problem that has been festering in the city of Miami for a very, very long time. Interestingly enough, I don't know if Commissioner Suarez remembers this, but he walked with me predominantly in my Latin district, and we walked into a home, and a Latin gentleman came out and actually started crying because he was showing us the spaghetti wire and double pole in front of his house. And he said, all I want from you, Commissioner, is to fix this. And, you know, double poles, I'm going to say 60% of the pole. Oh, here's something you all can learn and actually be educated. Take this away and it'll actually be useful for you. All the telephone poles we see in the city of Miami, they're predominantly owned by two folks, FP&L and AT&T. 60% of those poles are owned by FP&L. I think the FP&L poles actually have a pyramid on the top of them. AT&T's are flat. But those poles are not only used by AT&T, they're equally used by FP&L, and they're also used by Cox Cable. And Comcast, I guess they're called now, right? Comcast. And I got to be candid with this commission. FP&L's always been a good partner. AT&T, through Mr. Flores' effort, has become a pretty good partner. The only reason I don't say great partner, JC, is you're just too new at the game. Comcast, however, has never stepped up to the plate. I would tell you that about 30 to 40% of your problems are Comcast. And believe it or not, you have to order. First, Comcast has to take theirs down, and then they have an ordering process. And I almost wish our Director of Public Works was here, because what we've been able to devise, and I did not restrict this to my district, they have a plan in place. You want to go on the record, tell us what the plan is? Because I think every commissioner wants to hear this.
Sure.
How many poles exist out there, double, how much spaghetti wire, and how are you going to fix it?
Sure. Basically, based off of FPL's work that they started, they basically gridded, I should say, created districts throughout the city of Miami. I believe they created about 6 districts. And the reason we did that, and we all agreed to it, was because we can all primarily focus our efforts in regions as we move forward, so we get this thing done in an expedited manner. As a result, I'm pleased to say that we at AT&T, since we met with Public Works November 5th, have removed 112 AT&T poles as of January 4th. And so we're continuing to expedite the process. I know Comcast has come to the table to these meetings. They've agreed, and FPL as well. And I'm actually encouraged with the communication that we've had between the industry members.
Thank you. That's great.
Now, bear in mind, guys, we lose leverage when we vote for this today. So before you speak, Mr. Cruz, allow Public Works to tell us how, once we lose this leverage, how we maintain some degree of leverage.
And Commissioner, by the way, my vote today will be, with a good faith effort that they will continue. There are still polls that Mr. Flores and I have spoken about, that FPL and I have spoken about, polls that it's not just looks, it's not just aesthetics. We're talking safety. We're talking poles that are really leaning down, that at any moment will fall. And certainly with any little storm or wind, windstorm that we usually have. So I'm taking the leap of faith, and showing good faith that we shouldn't hijack this process in order to do something that I think is very good, because I think our residents have definitely spoken to all of us. So I'm just want to also say that, I think we should show some good faith.
Agreed, but let's find out from our Public Works Director how, what is it, Ronald Reagan, that said, "I trust you, but I'd like to verify." I think it was called in Russian, "das veravtu." So how do we verify?
Good morning, Commissioners. Public Works has been working together with all the three principal utilities, and we've succeeded in having a plan in place. The three respective utilities have committed to removing, on average, 60 poles per month in order to be able to eliminate the balance of 2,600 poles. Out of that 2,600, about 700 of those are within the Grove area, which is why we targeted to start from the Grove, so that once we eliminate that area, we will expand into other regions within the city. The residual power that the city may exercise once this process is completed today could be achieved through the permitting process, where if there is any type of decrease in production rate, assuming they begin to slack in their production of eliminating the poles, Public Works can now stop the process of granting new permits to the respective utilities until they come back to, until we are able to come back to progress. Again, like I said, I am very confident based on my meetings with the three utilities that they are committed to doing this. Like the Commissioner said, we previously had issues with Comcast, but we've been able to reach out to their regional manager in Juno Beach, who was incidentally down here yesterday to meet with me, Mr. Pepe Solaris, as well as J.C. Flores. And we had a productive meeting yesterday.
Can we prioritize the poles that present a safety issue for? I know you want to start where there's the most of them, but at least prioritize the ones that have a safety component to it.
Yes, Mr. Manager, that's part of the priorities that we had in place, to have those that pose safety concerns within the public right-of-way eliminated first before we go back to double poles within the alleys, which obviously might not be as significant based on aesthetics and safety.
So Mr. Director, presently in the city of Miami, there are how many double poles?
The number I have that has been presented to me is approximately 2,600.
As we sit here today?
As we sit here today. However, I must caution that that is pending verification in the field.
So could you report back to us in 90 days whether we have 2,600 or if we have 2,300 or we have 2,500, so that we can hold you personally accountable, make sure that these poles are removed, and you could say to us, well, Commissioner, even though they only took down 100 poles, I decided to issue 100 permits because I believe them. We may not like that. We might say, Ziri, that was a good idea. But I'll tell you something the former chair used to always say, I just want to hold people accountable for what they should be doing. Now, I'm surprised there are 2,000 poles in the city of Miami, and disappointed, candidly. And I'm not blaming us, but this is something the citizens take notice of. So I'd like you to report back to us in 90 days. Mr. Flores, I hope you come back. And I'd like to hear how Comcast is still interested and still cooperative, because there is your, what do they always say? That's the guy light in the pants that's not necessarily coming to the table as vigorously as they should.
Let me ask you, we have contract with these individuals, and we have agreements that they have to comply with certain criteria.
We do have a franchise agreement with FPL, and as I believe with Comcast.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Mr. Cruz, you're recognized for the
Mariano Cruz, 1227 Northwest 26th Street, Miami, Florida, 33142, -7639. Well, as an electrical engineer and Microsoft specialist, I have dealt with Comcast and AT&T, and I prefer a lot better AT&T, especially in dealing in technical and everything, a lot better. And now it's a good competition. They are there in Midtown too. They have the office in Midtown, and they service. And I'm glad to see that the police department is going with that, especially I have a daughter in the police department, and I am glad that when she called, she doesn't get a dead spot or a problem, that she gets it right away, she get a backup there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Anyone else wishing to be heard on PH9? Seeing none, hearing none. Public hearing is now closed. Coming back to the commission, any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Looks like we will start with FR1.
Good morning again. My name is Zeri Ihekwoba, Public Works Director. FR1 is an amendment to Chapter 54 of the City Code, Section 54-55, in order to provide further clarifications as to responsibility for fixing the public right-of-way that are damaged due to the intentional or negligent acts of property owners or their agents, contractors, or assigns. This legislation is a consequence of the last discussion item back in November that was sponsored by Commissioner Willie God of District 1. What the amendment to the code does is to enlarge the areas of responsibility for negligent acts of the members of the public from sidewalks to include pavement areas and driving lanes that perhaps could have been damaged by commercial haulers and people that dig up the street without permits, and perhaps also due to trees that are planted in the private property, that the roots have grown into the public right-of-way to damage the pavement areas. Any questions?
Move it.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Gort, second by Commissioner Spence-Jones. This is an ordinance. Anyone wishing to be heard from the public, please step up on FR1. Seeing none, hearing none, coming back to the commission. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Madam City Attorney, it is an ordinance.
Of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 54, Article 2, Section 54-55 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, entitled Streets and Sidewalks, Construction, Excavation, and Repair, Notice to repair sidewalks and curbs, to include driving lanes, parking lanes, and swells, and to clarify the extent of responsibility for abutting property owners and identify enforcement procedures containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
Roll call. Commissioner Suarez.
Yes.
Commissioner Carollo.
Yes.
Commissioner Spence-Jones. Vice Chair Gort.
Yes.
Chair Sarnoff.
Yes.
The ordinance has passed on first reading 5-0.
All right, I think we will now go to the REs, which would be RE2. And RE2 and RE4 should probably be heard in paramateria. Suarez might like that. So the public hearing for RE2 and RE4 will be open at simultaneous.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Spagnoli, CIP Director. RE2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an interlocal agreement with Miami-Dade County for the remediation and closure of the Virginia Key landfill. Some of the highlights of the agreement are that the county will provide all the work necessary and absorb all the costs associated with the landfill closure.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
by Commissioner Spence-Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Suarez. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
You're recognized for the record.
Thank you. Quick question. What happens if the cost is over 45 million? Who bears the, I guess, cost after 45 million?
The estimate in the agreement is for $46 million, though it does not show that as a cap, so the county would have to absorb all those costs if it went above the $46 million.
So they will absorb the cost.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Vice Chair, you're recognized.
I have a lot of problems with this issue, and I've been reading a lot of the documents, and I don't have the answers to a lot of the questions that I've had. I mean, we going back to the mediation. My understanding is when I first came in 2010, some people came up to me and asked me that they wanted to work on this $45 million that we had to do the remedies of the landfill. My understanding is in reading the document, the original document, The landfill was closed by the federal government, I understand, in 1977. We were clear, we were in good shape. Then all of a sudden, in 1993, 94, there was a spill of 32,000 gallons of diesel, which came out of a tank that provides service to the county, waste and water. There's questions that I'm asking that have been answered. I haven't seen the plan of the $45 million. This $45 million, something came out a long time ago. And I have not seen the study that tells them where with the problem that we have now. And I haven't seen any of that. So to me, I think we can do a little better than what we have. And I know the administration has worked very hard on this. And I admire them with the work they've done. But I think we can get a lot more. And I like to have some time.
Alice, you're recognized.
Alice Bravo, Assistant City Manager. And in reviewing the studies that we had provided to your Chief of Staff yesterday, or a couple of weeks ago.
Yesterday.
No, the studies we provided
The
a couple
original
of weeks
study
ago.
I read, and that's
and-
why I got all the information I'm bringing forward now.
Right. Well, we provided him a couple of studies a few weeks ago when the item was originally deferred, and went over some of the history in there. Those documents describe the fuel spills that you're stating, and that those actions were cleaned up and addressed by the county, and those actions were closed. Once the landfill is capped, if that landfill is found to be releasing some other contaminants, there's always room for the regulatory agencies to take action against us. In the mid-90s, they asked that methane monitoring take place, so even though the landfill was closed, there was suspicion that there was a contaminant being released. That action was closed. And in 1998, the Water Management District and the county conducted a study of the Biscayne Bay near coastal dumps, and that's what led to a notice of violation in 2000. That was in those documents as well.
One of the questions I've asked is we don't have to sign the contract. Now, my understanding, this is option. If we sign the contract, that we're supposed to, our existing contract with the waste is until 2015, it's my understanding. We signed a contract with the Miami-Dade County for solid waste to disposal in 2015 is due. If we don't sign a contract today, which they have an additional cost today, if we sign it this year, we have an additional cost, and I don't know what the cost is going to be to us, being how much more we're going to be paying now instead of for 2 years waiting to 2015. And I don't want to wait until 2015, but I want to make sure we get the right price. At the same time, I asked for a study if we decide to go to Broward, since we have to go all the way to, what is it, we go the city we go to,
Doral.
Doral. We go to Doral. There's some places in Miramar where we could go to. That study I got the other day, I'm looking at it. According to the original study that I received, now that I understand there's another study that came out 2 days ago, we would still be saving money if we use that route. So I'm having the problem that some of the commissioners have here. I don't have all the information, so I will not be able to vote on that.
I'd like to give a chance to give our solid waste director a chance to go over the terms of RE4 and the analysis that he prepared with regard to what it would cost the city to take the solid waste to Broward County.
When did I receive that?
I reviewed that with a member of your staff yesterday.
Keith, can you just pull up your mic?
Keith Carswell, Director for the Department of Solid Waste. As we made the rounds, meeting with various commissioners, several questions were raised, and we addressed them individually based on the issues or questions that arise by each individual commissioner. One of the questions that came up in a meeting with Vice Chairman Gord was what is the cost associated with transporting our garbage to Broward County. So we did an analysis. And basically what we're talking about, in order for our operation to go to Broward County, we're talking about one-way trips. Typically what we try to do in balancing the routes is garbage, for example. We like to see them do 2 or 3 trips per day to kind of balance out and even out the routes. From an operating and talking with the union president, there was a point the city did take MSW to Broward County, but by the time they do the collection by the time you factor in a lunch break, by the time you factor in travel time, you only are able to go on the route once, drive to Broward, and then you finish. So in looking at garbage alone for our operation, we have 23 routes. We would need to add an additional 20 trucks. We would need to we would need to hire additional 20 operators. That's just, in trash division, we would need to purchase 5 additional cranes, hire 10 additional, purchase 10 additional rubbish trucks, plus you have pension costs associated with that. So we went through that, and I reviewed that with your staff yesterday. And when you take a look at the incremental cost, because this is a cost above and beyond what we would normally have to pay, it comes out to about $68 a ton, okay? We're currently paying, on average, between going to the transfer station and going to resource recovery, which is a cheaper rate, $69.91 a ton. So based on the operational challenges associated with a one collection versus the rate that we're currently paying now, it's just operationally it doesn't seem feasible or economically viable in the long run. One of the things that in working through the interlocal agreement and also in reviewing the bond documents at the county, a little bit out of my lane, but looking at the bond documents associated with the Virginia Key remediation, is that the county has committed to defending the revenues. The county controls the permitting process. The county, anyone that wants a transfer station, a local transfer station to take third-party garbage, MSW, has to go to the county in order to get a permit, okay? What was negotiated by this manager in the agreement that should that golden permit ever be issued, in our interlocal agreement, it's an out provision for the city. So if a permit is ever issued to allow a third party to accept MSW at a transfer station, because it would make sense for that from that standpoint, then we have an out provision. And again, if we decide to then haul up to Broward in addition to the operating costs, we're then now on the hook for the remediation of Virginia Key, because in the bond documents, it was indicated that approximately $45 million would be set. It was estimated preliminary that $46 million was needed in the bonds for remediation of Virginia Key. I think the first tranche was about $28 million. So it was always understood, it was always discussed, it was a philosophical agreement, if you will, if it wasn't legal, that the remediation will be part of the extension of the interlocal agreement for the transfer of the tonnage. And again, if the rates go down, because the Vice Chair is right, come 2015, there are about 17 municipalities that are currently tied to the interlocal agreement. You're absolutely correct. The only 2 that have signed up was North Miami and Homestead, which received remediation grants. But if the rates should drop, even though we're signing up today, we will get the benefit of the lower rate, because everyone has to pay the same rate in the system.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner
Let me finish a minute. Keith, by the way, let me tell you, I think your department is wonderful. It's the greatest service, because that's very important. Picking up the sanitation is very important. I think your department is one that's really doing a great job. Every time we call with a complaint, you guys respond right away. I'm just trying to get what's best for the city. What are we paying right now for tonnage? What are we paying right now?
Okay. The rates,
right?
The rate at resource recovery
right now
is $63.65. The rate, if you go to a transfer station, we go to the central transfer station, which is down the street, and we go to the west transfer, which is Coral Way. The rate is $76.13. What we try to do is...
76. What's the new rate?
The rate that is being discussed in Broward County is $42.
No, I'm talking about here in Miami-Dade County, if we to sign the contract.
We would sign on at the existing rates.
At the existing rate for the next 15 years?
There are CPI potential escalation clauses associated with that.
So there's no increase. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you call them, the central station?
Yes.
The transfer station?
Yes.
How many cities use that? I think we're the only one that use that. Can we get them to reduce? the cost of the central
We've had discussion.
transfer station? I mean, that's something I would like to see. We're the only one that use it.
Can't say that we may be we're definitely, I would imagine, the only municipality
We're the major clients that they have.
Yeah. Yes, that is a fact. That is a fact.
And I'm trying to get what's best for us, because this is a contract we're going to sign for the next 15 years. At the same time, when you look at the document allows the cities to do their own remediation, to do the whole process is done by the city. In our contract, the county's the one's going to do it.
What was the question, sir?
According to the bond contracts here, the cities, they had the funds for the remediation. The job was done by the city. The city selected the individuals, and the city make sure the job was done. In our new contract, the county is the one that's going to be doing it.
Yeah, and that was my idea. When I joined the city, there was a consultant on board to do the contamination assessment report, the site assessment report, the remediation action plan, the closure. And those reports had to go to the county, and we were drawing from the 45 million. It got to a point where the county was not reimbursing us for the work that they were doing, because they're reviewing the documents. So as part of this agreement, we said, okay, county, it seems like we're not going to do the report to your satisfaction. You go ahead and finish the report. You're responsible for doing the closure, and you're going to be giving us $1 million a year of maintenance throughout the life of the project. So I thought it was win-win, because as Keith kind of alluded to earlier, I think we're tied to the county. The county says, okay, walk away. You don't have to do the interlocal agreement. But now we're responsible for the cleanup of the site anyway, and we have to go to Broward County. When you factor in those two things, I think that the good business decision for the city, and like you said earlier, we've worked very hard, very closely with the county, who's a home rule county, and we're tied to them to traffic circles, to stop signs. We're tied to the county. But I strongly believe that this is a good thing for the city. Right now, we've got favored nation clauses in there. We have out clauses in case, and I understand what you're saying. They're the permitting agencies, and they'll control the permits. But if they get challenged and somehow the rates ever drop, we'll be eligible, for those lower rates. But right now, I only see two paths. Saying to the county, guess what? We're not going to do the extension of the solid waste agreement, which means we got to go to Broward County and clean up our own site. And based on that, I'd rather extract from them the $1 million a year for
operation and maintenance,
for the maintenance of the deep well system. They have them finish the report. Also get reimbursed $350,000 that we've accrued in expenses, which they haven't paid us because of a lot of other things that I don't want to mention.
Let me tell you what I like to see, and I stated before.
Yes.
Nobody in the past. This has been going on for 10 years now, and you guys have come to some kind of conclusion. I like to get 2 weeks, see if we can even improve a little bit more. That's my request,
Mr. Chair.
I'm only one vote.
All right, you're recognized for the record, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I think it's important that these two items be taken together, because I think that one naturally flows with the other one. And so I don't know how much I have to add to what's already been said, but my understanding of what's going on is we have obviously leverage because we're the largest city, and we obviously have leverage because the county wants to do a deal with us, and that'll probably be the predicate and the foundation for the deal that it does with the other cities. And so because of that, we've gotten, in addition to their commitment to do the remediation, we've got an additional $1 million a year in operation and maintenance beyond just the remediation, which, by the way, if it cost us $68 to take it to Broward, that kind of obviates the supposed savings in and of itself. But then on top of that, if we have to remediate our own site, because the county says, listen, we're not gonna, you're gonna have to, you want to take it to Broward, take it to Broward. Now you got to remediate your own site. To do a bond to remediate our site at that amount of money will cost us $3 million a year. Plus, we're going to lose out on the $1 million in operation and maintenance that we have to do ourselves after the site is closed. You know, I do have some familiarity with this because of the District 7 Commissioner, and I know that this is one of the projects that the District 7 Commissioner has allocated a significant amount of money. And I know that one of the frustrations has been that it hasn't been spent. The money's there, it's been there for a long time, it hasn't been spent. And I think even the Auditor General of the county chastised the county for not spending the money. So they could spend it somewhere else, they can give it back to the bondholders, they can do whatever they want with it. And my fear is that they do precisely that. I mean, the county knows how to negotiate, they know they have what bargaining power they have. My understanding is legally, we have a legal requirement since we're the owner of the land to do the remediation. So we're lucky that the county has stepped in and said, look, we're willing to do this for you. That's my understanding of the legal posture. Is that correct,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Manager?
Yeah, now based on the model, when we sold the bonds, it'd be $4 million a year, just only slight correction instead of 3.
So it would cost us an additional $4 million a year. We'd be paying more money to take it to Broward, and we lose out on $1 million in operation and maintenance. So personally, I wanted to commend the administration because I know that they've been working on this for a long time. I want to commend the solid waste director and Ms. Bravo and the city manager. They've had countless meetings on this issue. You know, I've been in one or two of them, and I know that they've done a lot of things, put in a lot of mechanisms to protect the city. In the event that things change, as I think Commissioner Gord is worried about, and I think rightfully so. You know, if something happens, if something is more favorable to a city going forward, we should be able to get the benefit of that. Plus, if something changes in the private sector landscape, I think the manager has also built in some protections along with Mr. Carswell to make sure that we get the benefit of those changes. So, I mean, for me, this is a slam dunk, but I mean, nothing in the city sometimes is a slam dunk.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Holding this for 2 weeks, would it hurt anything? Or we, you know, because I think that's what Commissioner Gord is asking for. He's saying, hey, give me an additional 2 weeks to review whatever documents and so forth. So I guess my question is,
I'll answer. I don't think it will. It'll.
would there be any harm to the city if we wait an additional 2 weeks and we bring it back at the next commission meeting?
Absolutely not. Our contract's not over till 2015. This is just.
But before we come off this, and I will support a 2-week delay. The only time I get to talk to you is up here.
Right, yeah.
And you all have heard me say this before. When I go out to Virginia Key, I think to myself, who's the commissioner of this district? Oh, that's right, it's me. And it's not anything to be proud of. And yet, every one of us could be proud here if we had ball fields out there. Simple little ball fields. Football, soccer, whatever you want, call it what you will. By the way, not to say that the village of Key Biscayne would not enjoy the use of those ball fields. So from a perspective, from the day I walked into this commission 6 years ago, we have been talking about this. But I'll tell you a conversation I had with then City Manager Magoya. Back in the conference room when we used to have the cow room, it was larger, and then Commissioner Jimenez was there. And Magoya, in his usual style, said, I'm not paying for this, and there's no way you're ever going to get me to pay for any of this. And Jimenez said, and looked at the administration for the county and said, this isn't hard to understand. The city is in crisis, and there's no way they're going to ever be able to pay anything above whatever the bond amount was. So Jimenez said to them, go back, figure out a way that we become primarily responsible for this. Now, unfortunately, the county wants to link the tipping fee for solid waste to this issue. It's no secret the county is the 800-pound gorilla, and the 800-pound gorilla throws the 2-pound gorilla around as it chooses to, and we're the 2-pound gorilla. So what the manager did, and we spoke about it, was create what's called the most favored nation status, which means anybody that negotiates a better rate than us, we get that better rate. I sat with Mr. Carswell and I asked him, what is the wear and tear to the brand new hybrid trucks that we purchased for them to ride up to Broward? If you don't know this, hybrid trucks don't do quite so well hauling long hauls as does a diesel truck. And I can get into the science of that, but take that as an absolute given. If you were to factor in the wear and tear, if you were to factor in the costs associated there too, we would be over the 76.13 cents that we would be paying. It's not even a hard analysis to make. You have, if anybody gets a transfer station, we get to opt out of the contract. any developer, any private entity, any municipality goes and contracts and creates and permits, and ironically, it's the county, the keeper of the key. The keeper of the key prevents the
Transfer station from being approved.
yeah, exactly. And we even asked if it was constitutional. It seems to be indicated by the city attorney's office that if a governmental entity were to hold on to that monopoly, it would probably be satisfactory. So, Commissioner Gord, I want you to be satisfied, but I can tell you as the commissioner of the district, having dealt with this for 6 years, having negotiated with Magoya, having negotiated with Jimenez, having asked this manager personally to get involved, having asked Alice Bravo to get personally involved, having sat with them for probably more hours than they care about, having said to them, I'd like to see a ball field before I leave this commission. And I don't think we're factoring in the quality of life we're depriving the citizens of Miami from having, because there simply aren't enough ball fields in the city of Miami. And there's just not enough raw, fun land for the folks to have. And this, you know, we talk about crime, and I know Commissioner Spence Jones will tell me there is a correlation to kids being idle and not having enough to do. So it's all a little piece of the puzzle. It's all a little, it's like a great big pizza. There's a little sliver out there that'll help the next sliver along. It's all part of it.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, let me clarify something first. And I want to work with the county. I think we have to. I think we have to work as a team. That's the only way we get things done. But you also need to understand that when they made the bond issue, 1995, the only reason they were able to do it because they had the pledge of the City of Miami funds.
Right.
Okay, so those funds were supposed to be coming to us because they used our pledge and our revenues to do the bond issue.
But that's why they claim that the two are tied together also.
Right.
They claim that the extension is tied to the bond because the bond has a longer maturity than our...
All I want to see if we can get the transfer station, if we can get some reduction, some savings.
Look,
That's
may
what
I,
I'm
Mr.
trying to
Chair?
get.
Let me go to Suarez and then over to Spence.
Mine is just real quick. Listen, I don't have a problem with a 2-week deferral. As everyone has stated here, you know, we're all acting in good faith, trying to get this thing done and trying to get it the best deal for the city. So I don't have any issue with a 2-week deferral. I think the discussion was healthy. I think we got pretty much all the things out there. And look, as the chairman said, I don't know, I think most people don't know in a litigation what's going to be the outcome. You don't know if some private sector entity will come in and say, we're going to challenge the county's right to, to administratively deny us a transfer station. And they might win. And the beauty of this agreement is that if they do win and we do get some sort of a better deal, we have the right to opt out, which, by the way, I have to commend the manager on because he stuck to his guns on that issue. And on the other issue, I think there was 2 big issues. I forget what the other one was right now.
No minimum that we have to take them was also huge for me.
And you know what? You just reminded me of another thing, which is that this whole thing is minimized by the fact that thanks to the chair's leadership as a commissioner, we have a recycling program that right now is going to be generating a tremendous amount of income for the city of Miami and generating a tremendous amount of reducing our costs in terms of what we tip. And then we also have the Clean Yard program. So we have, our tipping expenses are going to continue to go down further and further and further.
Our estimate, Commissioner, it's going to go down from between 9 to 10 million down to 7 million.
And just for the record, through last week, remember when we did the presentation, we collected about 3,000 tons of recycling a year. Through last week, we were at 2,800 tons already for the year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's amazing.
That's doing good.
In addition to that, with the clean yard waste, which we assume could be clean yard trash that can go other than to the county, between recycling and the clean yard waste disposal, we're looking at saving a little over $2 million in tipping fees. So.
Mr. Carswell, just to comment on that. Well, I was here, I think Commissioner Spence Jones was too, when we won the Cleanest City in America award. And I never truthfully really thought we were the cleanest city in America. But we did win it. You might want to reapply. Because I got to tell you, we are a much greener city just in that simple process that we put in place. And another person that deserves a kudo is you. You, and I've said it before, but as long as, I guess when you chair, you get to say nice things. Great job on that. Every issue you tackled You tackled it like a gentleman. You were a scholar. You did a great job on that. Everything you said would happen is not only happening, but happening about 10 to 15% better than you said it would. So, thank you.
Well, thank you, and it takes a team effort, so those at the Solid Waste Department, thank you, and also the manager and his support. It's been challenging, but he's been unwavering in his support.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I think we all acknowledge that whenever a district commissioner has asked for something to be deferred or have more time, we all respect that. At least we try to. So I'm actually the person that actually made the motion. But what I would like to do, just for a matter of respect, to at least allow the county to put something on the record as well. And I think we do have the department director.
The director, who was no stranger to the city.
Okay. I just would like for her to put her comments on the record.
That looks like a famous person here.
Oh, boy. Good morning, Commissioners, Mayor. Thank you for having us.
What's your name on the record?
Kathleen Woods Richardson. I'm the Public Works and Waste Management Director for Miami-Dade County, former director for City of Miami Solid Waste Department, proudly. I do appreciate your efforts this morning in moving this item forward. I do want you to know that we have worked really hard, and your staff have been troopers, tough troopers, and getting this item to where it is. Commissioner Suarez, we've had meetings with him and numerous meetings with the mayor, and we can't count the time we've spent with your staff in trying to get to this. This is a hard-fought fight to make sure that all of the interests, the best interests of the county and the city have been protected. I know that there are some things that we have in this agreement that, you know, we have to go and stretch to make sure that we put them there, but I want you to know that the county is also sensitive to those changes that occur in the waste industry, and so things that happen outside of our county do impact us. And as the city is our largest municipal customer, we are, the county, our own largest waste customer. So certainly what affects you will affect us a lot more, so we're working and continue to work that as the industry change, we have to adjust to make sure that we protect our own real interests. So those concerns are certainly forefront in our mind. The 2-week delay is not going to hurt us in any way. We do have some time on this, although we'd like to get it done as quickly as possible. So we have no problems with that. And to let you know that I am, as well as anyone else on my staff, are available, that if you want us to sit with you, you have some concerns or some questions, we'll be available to address those.
I would appreciate that, because
Certainly.
I've not been part of any of the meetings, so I would love to meet with y'all.
Gladly.
Thank you.
Certainly.
I wouldn't have ordinarily opened up a public hearing, but since the county spoke, I'm going to let you speak.
Thank you, sir. Happy New Year to everyone. Joe Simmons, Jr., President of Sanitation Workers Union, AFSCME Local 871. Just a couple of comments. I agree with Mr. Carollo about seeing if, Mr. Gore, Commissioner Gore, about a lower rate, hopefully. What we would like to have taken into consideration as part of your discussions during the 2 weeks before you're going to look at it again, if it doesn't pass today, is to consider us having the same rate, dumping our material on the resource recovery or the 20th Street landfill, the 20th Street transfer station, which is, by the way, 1 block away. Right. It would save us on labor costs, fuel, wear and tear, maintenance on our vehicles. So I know there was discussion about going to Broward, but that was 15 years ago, and we had all new fleet. That's what we'd like to have considered. But we do support the item generally speaking, and that's going to maintain the level of jobs the county and City of Miami, because those are our same counterparts in the county, and we support it wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, procedurally, what I think we need to do is have the maker withdraw the motion,
I withdraw the motion.
and now the maker can make a new motion.
I make a motion that we hear this item.
Next commission.
Defer to the next commission
You okay
meeting?
with that?
All right, we have a motion to defer for the next commission meeting.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
We got the motion maker, Commissioner Spencer Jones. It looks like Suarez is trying to say yes.
I'll second it, yes.
There you go. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That was, Mr. Chair, that was RE2 and 4 both.
RE2 and RE4. And now we have a non-agenda item, which
Do you want us to take it
we
separately?
will start with. And
Excuse me, can we do,
Both of the deferrals separately? He wants to do the deferral separate.
Can we separate those items for, we have two votes on.
Oh, two votes, I'm sorry. So
I make a motion to defer RE4 to the next commission meeting.
Second.
You're accepting that as RE2's motion, right? Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Mr.
right.
Chairman, is this the 11 o'clock time certain?
It is.
Okay, can I have a minute, please, if you don't
Absolutely.
mind?
Go ahead.
I just need to do something about
You want to do a quick recess?
Yeah, fine.
Let's do a real 10-minute recess.
Commissioner, some time ago, we had discussions about buying police equipment and trucks and stuff like that. We have some in, it's outside, whenever you guys break for lunch, if you want to get a little
We go
tour.
lights and siren? Just kidding.
Excuse me? We got a few trucks, a new police car, a light system, so that whenever you all break for lunch, if you want to go through the equipment, it's out there.
I don't want to use it, though. I don't want to use it.
You don't want to be in the back.
Oh, wait, Francis.